Hey guys, we have a full moon in Pisces that we need to talk about today, and this is likely to be a very spiritually oriented full moon energy. This next couple of weeks, there is likely to be a strong sense of spiritual connection that is sort of driving things behind the scenes. We may also have some very spontaneous spiritual awakenings that are sort of hitting us out of nowhere, or some more bizarre or unusual spiritual encounters or spiritual experiences that are really opening our eyes to something or changing our perception or our view on something in one way or another. This is a very transitional moon as well, transitional period of time. We are releasing a lot during this full moon period so that we can open up to begin to grow and to actually make some important choices and decisions moving forward as well. This is a period of time where, through perhaps the spiritual awakening or this more spiritually connected energy, we are really gaining a better and a higher understanding of what really fills our cup, what it is that our heart and soul truly yearns for, and what is standing in the way of that. We are likely to be sort of working to liberate ourselves or to release ourselves from some things that are blocking us from being able to embody and create a life for ourselves going forward that is in alignment with those things that bring us that form of authentic fulfillment. So that is sort of what is wrapped up in the nature of this full moon in Pisces today. Very spiritually oriented moon. Let's jump into the report, you guys, see how all of this is coming together, what we may be able to expect on the ground today and over this next couple weeks as this full moon in Pisces plays out. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Saturday, September 10th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is my analysis of the full moon in Pisces that we have going on today, Saturday, September 10th, 2022, like I said, happening at exactly 6 a.m. on the dot Eastern time, so time adjusted to wherever in the world you happen to be. This full moon is happening at exactly 17 degrees and 41 minutes of the signs of Pisces and Virgo. The moon will be in Pisces, the sun is in Virgo. Our full moon each month happens when the moon and the sun come into the exact to the minute opposition with each other. That is what gives us our full moon energy, and the polarities this time around are the sun in Virgo, the moon being in Pisces. And because I read the Sabian symbols as an astrologer, which are a group of symbols that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac, and whenever there's a planet at a specific point making an aspect, discharging a degree, we can just look at the Sabian symbol. It gives us sort of an extra layer of additional symbolic information about what that specific planet or what that specific aspect is representing. So I always like to incorporate the Sabian symbols into my astrological analysis because they just help us to understand better what the transits are doing from an energetic symbolic level, I feel like. And that being said, I'm always rounding up when I am talking about degree placement. I just kind of want to do a quick disclaimer about that for you guys and anyone who's new to my channel, because although the full moon is happening at exactly 17 degrees, 41 minutes of the signs of Virgo and Pisces, I'm going to be looking at 18 degrees for our analysis today of those two planets and all the other planets as well. I'm always rounding up a degree because energy moves in waves. And when we're reading the Sabian symbols, the symbolic interpretation of this specific degree, we look at the energy that's coming in, that's beginning to manifest, that's really gaining strength. And we don't look so much at the energy that is waning out, that is dissipating, and that is beginning to fade away. So all of that being said, I'm rounding up a degree. So I personally am looking at 18 degrees of Pisces and Virgo for the position of the full moon today. So Sabian symbol disclaimer, degree disclaimer out of the way. Let's really get into what this is all meaning for us. First of all, to me, spiritual awakening is all the business in this chart today. And it's interesting because we're in the Virgo cycle right now. We're about to head into the Libra cycle following this full moon period. This next 2 weeks, we are going to be closing out our new moon in Virgo cycle, preparing to enter the new moon in Libra cycle, which is a cardinal cycle, an action-oriented phase. And this also marks the halfway point in our astrological lunar year. We start the year with the new moon in Aries. That is the first sign of the zodiac. By the time we get to the new moon in Libra, that is the oppositional sign to Aries. That is the 7th sign of the zodiac, and it is marking our halfway point in the astrological lunar year. Of course, not the Gregorian calendar, but according to the equinoxes and how that is all playing out. But anyways, We are approaching the halfway point of our energetic year, and here we are coming to this full moon that is really representing some type of spiritual awakening. Now, on the side of that, we are also entering a retrograde period right now, a Mercury retrograde period that is also really helping us to get back in alignment with that which we truly want and desire. So there is so much energy. There is such a galactic push right now, you guys, to try to help us break free essentially from a state of self-denial so that we can come into a place of self-actualization. That is the push throughout the remainder of this year. That is what this 2022, this 222 year with this like more profound numerology is indicating. 222 2022 this year, about really unlocking what it is that brings us a true state of like inner harmonization and fulfillment, and the types of relationships that feed that as well, and us coming into an alignment with our purpose and being able to receive that sense of fulfillment from that. Like this 222 year has been all about trying to bring us back to a place of inner harmony, in alignment with our authentic truth, so that we can begin to actually magnetize, attract, and embody that externally, which is a reflection of that, so that we can get and gain this sense of tremendous like soul fulfillment and just these more harmonized soulmate type connections and stuff that really help us in our pursuit of this self-actualization, this activating destiny, this rising into our higher potential, which is also very crucial at this point in time as we are transitioning ages into the age of Aquarius. And that is the process of that transition, self-actualization. And I feel like this Mercury retrograde period in conjunction with this full moon that are coming in today are both trying to break us out of any sense of self-denial that we may had been existing within, in order to bring us back to a place of clarity in and of ourselves in terms of what we truly need on an emotional level in order to feel filled up in the choices that we need to make going forward in order to rearrange our lives in a way that become a reflection of that. That is what energy is pushing towards, whether it's something that we personally want or are asking for, you know, in our personal lives. Like, that is not really a part of this. Like, this is the universal push right now. This is the trajectory of things. It also has a lot to do with the North Node right now, the destiny point in the sign of Taurus, all about recognizing the truth of our internal value, our tapping our resources, cultivating our potential, and being able to grow something that can provide something that helps to stabilize our physical world and provide a material sense of comfort in some type of a way. Anyways, this full moon, spiritual awakening. First of all, this is a full moon in Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. This is the spiritual planet. This is where we really fade back in sort of to all that is and connect to the spiritual planes and realms of this reality. So a full moon in the sign of Pisces is really going to be emphasizing this spiritual connection. And we also have Neptune, currently the ruler of Pisces, also in the sign of Pisces right now. And the moon, the full moon, is going to be in a loose conjunction to Neptune. This is not super tight, but it is still going to be definitely elevating the levels of sensitivity that are associated with this moon. We are going to be like an energetic sponge probably over the course of this next couple days. And we might really want to be careful about what energy we are letting into our personal reality at this point in time. This is also happening in a trine, almost exact to the planet Uranus, you guys, which is the planet of awakening, conscious awakening, and the great awakening in our transition into the age of Aquarius. This Pisces moon in the conjunction to Neptune, in an almost exact trine to Uranus, and simultaneously the north and the south nodes of the moon, karma and destiny. There is a karmic release that is going on as a result of some type of spiritual awakening, spiritual connection, spiritual experience that is showing us the truth of what we need internally, emotionally, to feel fulfilled within us, and really bring us to a point where we no longer wish to coexist with the things that don't. So we are on the brink over this period of time of being able to gain some type of massive clarity about ourselves that helps us to make a choice or a decision about the way that we want to take things going forward. But we're not there yet. This is what is being indicated for this period of time that is coming up right now. And there is something about a progression, like on a numerological level today, this energy is moving forward. It's doing something for us. Like, this is not happening for no reason. Things are falling into place. Like, dominoes are turning over. Like, the gears are turning in the right way that is going to have the proper effect going forward, even though we may not necessarily see where this is going right now at this point in time. But there is definitely indications about things sort of being on track and being part of a progression, and like things happening, so another thing can happen, so another thing can happen, so another thing can happen, and like supreme airs of divine timing and divine alignment also wrapped up in what is happening in this chart today. Progression of events leading us out of and away from the past and towards a new phase of personal growth and expansion. That is where all of this is going as we get through this full moon energy. There is likely to be a very strong spiritual energy awakening and experiences over this period of time, like I've said several times at this point in the report, and it's being emphasized actually again by the position of the sun itself today. Let's get into the Sabian symbols. I'm going to do my format a little bit differently today. I'm actually going to talk about the themes that we have coming through with the full moon in the context of the symbolism that is present before I even get into specifically talking about the aspects, because, you know, in true nature of a very spiritually oriented full moon, the symbolism that is coming through is just as telling as the aspects themselves. So I kind of wanted to do a theme by theme breakdown in terms of the symbolism first. So that's where we're starting. And aside from the aspects and the transits, which I've mentioned, the full moon in Pisces itself and the conjunction to Neptune really expanding the spiritual dynamic of the energy present, the position of the sun at 18 degrees of Virgo for our full moon today is two girls playing with an Ouija board. So, you know, aside from the transits themselves, the very position of the sun in opposition to the moon today for our full moon is literally talking about two girls playing with a Ouija board, connecting to the spiritual plane, seeking guidance and advice, seeking a tangible spiritual experience in the physical, mundane reality. So there is, even on a symbolic level, some very strong indications that this period of time is merging the spiritual with the physical. And we're also talking about Virgo, an earth sign, and ruled by Mercury, the mind, logical, rational thought. And we're talking about the moon in Pisces, this very spiritually oriented water sign. The full moon, the balance, the reflection, like something about the spiritual planes and the physical, tangible planes merging together in a way that is awakening us, helping us to gain an awareness, giving us some guidance, some assistance, answering some questions for us, just being tangibly connected in a way that we can like really truly perceive through our physical dimension over this period of time. It's just what this is saying. Displays, performances, projections, dramatizations, sensationalizing things, fantastical like things happening, or hypnotic and illusionary things happening as well. Again, this sort of kind of goes with these spiritual experiences or encounters on one hand, but on the other hand, they could also be like more fabricated or more manipulated. Remember, Neptune in Pisces is also all about illusion and deception and manipulation. So on one hand, there's this very strong spiritually inclined energy. But on the other hand, we need to be very careful that we are not sort of being manipulated or deceived or deluded or pulled into some type of an illusion or fantasy under the guise of spiritual experience that is not truly as it appears. Things not being as they appear are another theme that is wrapped up in this energy today. But the thing is, the degree of the full moon itself in the opposition to the sun at 18 degrees of Virgo, 18 Pisces, this Sabian symbol is in a gigantic tent. Villagers witness a spectacular performance. So some type of like exactly what I said, displays, performances, projections, dramatizations, sensational things happening, fantastical, hypnotic, illusionary, real or imagined, real or deceptive. Like, we may be coming into experiences and encounters with these things and really questioning, like, was that real? Like, did I really just see that? Or was that some type of like spectacular performance that just appeared and seemed to be very like real in its nature? Things, we may be like sort of walking a very fine line between fantasy and reality throughout the course of this full moon period. But tapping into our intuition and really connecting to an internalized sense of like our own spiritual guidance is going to be the best way that we can navigate this energy. We may have a very hard time, as I was saying, deciphering fact from fantasy and truth for illusion. And this is also because, like I was saying, you know, these spiritual experiences, these spiritual encounters, reality itself may be hard to believe. Like it might not even be so much that we are like getting conned into some type of an illusion or some type of a deception. Like it might actually be that the reality itself is so bananas or so wild or so off the charts or just so like unbelievable that it's like creating this cognitive dissonance within us, and we're having a hard time even believing like what we're seeing before our very eyes and questioning our own sanity that this could even really be happening. You know what I mean? Like, yes, lots of illusions, lots of deceptions possibly going on. We want to be very careful what we're buying into in this energy, but it actually, the way it's playing out, especially with the trine to Uranus as well, I feel like it's more likely that reality and the truth about something that we discover is just so hard to believe that it's like making us question ourselves. So that is a dimension and an aspect of the energy and the way that things might be playing. We might really be questioning, you know, whether that really happened or not, like whether that was real or not. We should also pay very strong attention to our dreams during this period of time because, like I said, like this spiritual connection, two girls playing in a Ouija board, and ability to receive spiritual guidance through this connection or like tangible physical spiritual experiences in our 3D plane, like very, very possible. And the energy as it's playing out right now with the sun and the earth, or the sun and the moon rather, and the earth as well, at those positions, but simultaneously these aspects playing out on the sides. Very much also, though, questioning what we want or a choice that we need to make about something. And this is bringing the Mercury retrograde energy into it because Mercury stationed retrograde yesterday on the 9th. And for the full moon, as it's happening today at 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, Mercury actually has not even officially started moving backwards yet. Mercury is still stationary in the sky for our full moon. And when a planet is stationary, its energy is very amplified. And we're in a Virgo cycle right now, which is ruled by Mercury. And this is definitely going to be putting an emphasis on Mercury in the sign of Libra, you guys, reconsidering what we want. We may feel a bit stuck in this energy right now. Like we may feel like we can't move forward, like we're on some type of pause, like there is just, we don't know what to do, like a stalemate type of situation or something. Like we don't know what choice to make or we don't know how to move forward. And this might be something that we're sort of dealing with over the course of this full moon cycle, but we are also in this Mercury retrograde energy. Mercury has not officially started moving backwards yet. We are dealing with Mercury paused in the sky, sort of like, really just holding out and unable to choose a clear direction. And then when we have the moon in the opposition Pisces as well, like maybe because we don't really know what's real and what's not for us right now. And this definitely, like I said, is a period that is cracking us out of any type of self-denial that we have been existing within so that we can move towards choosing self-actualization. Like that is really the choice in all of this Mercury energy, ruling polarities, and Mars also in the sign of Gemini right now. Like that is really the choice that we are facing at this period of time. Do I continue to perpetuate karmic cycles of self-denial, or do I detach myself from my experiences essentially in the past and allow myself to go through a period of recreating my own identity in my own world in a way that is truly fulfilling to like what I have discovered is the nature of my heart and soul, and moving towards this process of self-actualization. That's what we're juggling in this energy, self-denial or self-actualization. I can tell you guys, with the trine going on to Uranus, like we don't actually have a choice. Like it's sort of an illusionary choice in this Neptune energy as well. Like we may think we have a choice, and we may choose to hide and to run away from the clarity and the awakenings that are coming to us right now, but ultimately like there is no escaping the release from the karmic patterns that are necessary right now in order to transition to the age of Aquarius by way of our cosmic blueprint that is unfolding. So, people may be resisting, people may be running away, people may be in fear, people may be fighting it, but at the end of the day, we're all going in the same place, and that is conscious awakening, conscious awareness in alignment with activating destiny, activating potential. And like I said, I feel like this full moon and this Mercury retrograde process that's honestly pretty much happening simultaneously are both pushing us in that direction through this spiritual and very internalized conscious awakening that is underway. There's also perhaps, though, an aspect of oppression, conformity, or control that we are, again, ready to break free from coming through in this energy. And this may pertain specifically in regards to relationship dynamics. We have Venus and Mars for our full moon at very interesting Sabian symbols. Venus is at 7 Virgo. That Sabian symbol is a harem. And Mars is at 12 degrees of Gemini. A slave girl demands the rights of her mistress. So some type of energy that maybe have been causing us to conform or controlling our true desires in some type of a way, pushing us to the brink where we are ready to sort of assert ourselves and are no longer willing to deal with anything that is keeping us out or holding us back or restricting us or making us feel like a slave to our own reality. Like, that is what we're transitioning out of. We are going to universe is trying to bring us to a place right now where we are thriving in our reality because it's fulfilling us on very deep soul levels, and we are like aligned with our purpose, and we don't feel like we are like at the whim of our experiences or, you know, victim to our experiences and what is going on in our world. We are moving to a place of co-creation and collaboration with God and universe as we go through this conscious awakening and wake up to the truth of our power to consciously create in this reality. So we are breaking out of the bondage of the past. And honestly, a lot of this has had to do with being attached to toxic mindsets and a lack of perception of the truth of our own potential, of our own value, and needing this external validation from others that may have caused us to like sacrifice our own truth at various points in our life leading up to this transitional phase that we are going through right now. So interesting degrees of Venus and Mars as well. And this could be bringing in a need to really realign some relationship things. Like, see, that's what's happening. Relationships that are not in alignment with authenticity, you guys, are not making it through this year. And this is the breakdown phase that we are in terms of that right now. Solutions to complex problems, though, and conflicts may also and are likely to be presenting themselves as we go through this period of time, out of the box thinking as well, and being open to options and alternatives. Jupiter right now is at 6 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a square brightly lighted on one side. In astrology, squares bring conflict, problems, tension, issues, but this square is brightly lighted on one side. To me, this is saying like the solution will present itself. We will recognize and we will notice it probably through this period of spiritual awakening that we are going through. And so I feel like that is sort of telling us that we need to be open and we need to be willing to sort of think outside the box as we're going through this period of time as well. We are also, you guys, likely to receive some news or some messages or some information or some type of greater understanding that changes our circumstances for the better somehow. Saturn for our full moon is starting the day at 21 degrees of Aquarius and will then retrograde back to 20 degrees of Aquarius by the time the day is over. Now, 21 degrees of Aquarius, that Sabian symbol is a woman disappointed and disillusioned, courageously facing a seemingly empty future. And 20 degrees of Aquarius is a large white dove bearing a message. And so I feel like with these degrees that Saturn is moving to symbolically over the course of this full moon day, I feel like this is saying that we need to maintain the courage and our faith that things are not as they seem right now. They are not truly as they appear, and peaceful and positive resolutions are coming and may be delivered to us via some type of information or awareness or awakening that we receive over this period of time. Also, this energy is very much about a purge and a detox and a release from the past programming and toxic attachments where we had been surrendering our power, and about us conquering and winning this spiritual battle that has been playing out within us across the collective of humanity. Neptune right now in the conjunction to our Pisces full moon, ruling the full moon in Pisces, is at 25 degrees of Pisces, you guys. That Sabian symbol is the purging of the priesthood. This is about getting back in alignment with the truth of our spiritual power and that spiritual connection, and purging ourselves, releasing ourselves from anything that has been distorting or separating us from that true, authentic spiritual connection. that's just what's happening. It's all playing into it. Everything is playing into itself. It all makes sense. We are also recreating ourselves in our personal world. Uranus at 19 degrees of Taurus right now. A new continent is rising through the ocean, or a new continent is rising from the ocean, and it's through the spiritual connection. It's through the spiritual awakening. And Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn, a mountain pilgrimage, a difficult journey, but it is helping us to gain higher perspectives and showing us what we are truly capable of. It's showing us our resilience. It's showing us our endurance. It's showing us the courage that we have to persevere and overcome, which is even strengthening and like exacerbating even more the recognition of the truth of the value and the potential and the resources that we hold inside of us. We also need to have the faith and the courage, like I said, to face the dynamic changes ahead. The position of the South Node right now is actually at children playing around 5 mounds of sand. 5 is a number of dynamic change. Mounds of sand can easily get swept and cleared away by one big wave coming through. So I feel like this is saying there may be some dynamic change that is sort of quickly transitioning us from one thing into another over this period of time as well, but spiritual assistance through this transformative process for sure. Chiron ruling the hero's journey, our spiritual journey from a state of victimhood to a state of self-mastery, currently at 16 degrees of Aries. Nature spirits are seen at work in the light of the sunset. So again, the spiritual assistance that is coming through to assist us through this process of transformation, the sunset. And then we get into the aspects, you guys. Number one, like I said, this full moon itself is happening in a sextile to Uranus. The sun in Virgo will be in a trine to Uranus. The moon in Pisces will be in a sextile to Uranus. These are positive, facilitating aspects happening with the planet Uranus ruling our great awakening, our conscious awakening, our transition into the age of Aquarius. This is awakening energy. Uranus in the sextile to the moon, the goal here is freedom and emotional self-expression and experience. We want our physical reality to reflect our authentic emotional truth when this aspect is playing out. And you guys, in the nature of what I've been saying about our Mercury retrograde right now, if existing friendships or love relationships don't meet our needs, we will find new ones. We will replace them. We are no longer willing to maintain relationships that are not filling our cup. And with the South Node and the moon in Pisces also in a trine for this full moon, we are ready to let go, you guys. We are ready to let go of anything that is not filling us up, anything that is having a negative or toxic effect on us, anything that is keeping us out of the truth of our power, anything that is diminishing our potential, anything that is not allowing us the freedom to express ourselves on an emotional level. We are coming to some type of understanding that we just can't deal with it anymore, or we're just moving on. We're maturing. We're no longer feeling the need to sacrifice our truth in order to receive external validation anymore. We may also feel spontaneously called to make changes to our home environment so that it better reflects our authenticity, like our authentic truth at this point in time, our authentic self, and is more emotionally satisfying. With Uranus in the sextile to our full moon, we are definitely seeking emotional satisfaction and emotional liberation in alignment with that which brings us emotional satisfaction as we go throughout this period of time. Experiences of our inner and emotional life are very stimulated in this energy, and our imagination tends to be very stimulated in this energy as well, especially with the moon in Pisces ruling the imagination and the conjunction to Neptune also ruling the imagination. Our imagination, our ability to visualize, creative energy is very, very, very strong in this dynamic that we have set up, very stimulating like our creative abilities. And also, it's not like the creativity is coming because in this energy, it's like our intellect and our emotions are like our right and our left brain have a better cohesion, like a better coherence together, are more unified. And this is really what opens us up to these new perspectives and this creative energy. We can see and feel from a more open perspective, which allows us to channel some more divinely creative energy when we have these types of dynamics playing out. So a very highly creative moon, you know, both through this spiritual inspiration that may be coming through, this divine inspiration, but also this right left brain like cohesion sort of that is opening us up to being able to perceive and to channel sort of some very creative energy. So we have that going on as well. The full moon, like I said, it's happening at 18 degrees of Pisces. This is putting it into a trine with the south node currently at 15 degrees of Scorpio. The south node in Scorpio, this is the toxic attachments that we are releasing ourselves from at this point in time that have been keeping us out of the truth of our power. So this is a period very facilitating release from karmic cycles also playing into this. So it's like on one hand this spiritual awakening that is opening our eyes to something, and on the other hand allowing, assisting, facilitating, helping us to release ourselves from toxic karmic cycles of the past. Very significant, like I said, full moon as we are moving towards the midpoint of this astrological lunar year. Also the loose conjunction to Neptune, as I was saying in the beginning, this is very highly sensitive. We are like a sponge to everything. We want to be very careful of what type of energy we are interacting with over this period of time. Being around people also who won't discuss their emotional issues rationally, like that could really have some negative impacts like on our own like health and stuff as well. Virgo ruling the 6th house, the sign of the health, and just like our general well-being and stuff like that. Like energy, we're likely to be very, very sensitive, and it just will definitely benefit us to not absorb the toxic negative energy of other people if we can avoid it in any way. But also, you know, a very daydreamy, very fantasy oriented full moon, very creative, low physical energy, like I was saying also. And another thing, you guys, we want to be very, very careful going through this period of time and at the full moon about miscommunications and misunderstandings and misinterpretations and just not getting the memo and not spelling the memo out properly. You know what I mean? Not only do we have a full moon that is in Pisces, at Pisces Virgo, this is already blurring the lines again between like rationality and like delusion sort of. And Neptune is right there as well. This can also, the moon conjunct Neptune can also like really cloud things, cloud our ability to see clearly what is going on. And then when we bring in Mercury stationed and about to go retrograde throughout the course of this full moon, like we don't want to be getting into fights over misunderstandings with Mars in the sign of Gemini as well. Like that's another thing that really could be coming up over this period of time is fights over ideas, understandings, mindsets, attitudes about stuff, perceptions, information. There's a big info war, battle of the narratives, battle like for control of the mind themes that are playing out in the context of this full moon as well. And, you know, we just sort of want to like be sure that we are not going to war with someone over something that we misunderstood or us conveying something in the wrong way that gets a negative reaction that we feel like we need to retaliate against. Like we want to be very careful that we are understanding things clearly, that we are speaking clearly, that we are communicating clearly, that you know, the message is getting across and that we are receiving the message in the way that it was intended to be sent, because this could just bring up a lot of issues, a lot of conflict, a lot of arguments, a lot of debates going on over people just genuinely like being lost in translation. Like that's sort of what this equates to me to for me, like a lot of opportunities for lost in translation stuff to just create some type of like upheavals or conflicts that could be going on in this energy. And communications generally could be quite difficult over this next period of time. And we personally, like we need to be doing self-checking. We need to be very self-aware over this period of time as it plays out, because we personally may be seeing things unrealistically. And we also need to be very aware of being in any state of self-delusion. Like that is another thing that can really come up in this energy. And again, being in this state of self-delusion and projecting that onto somebody else or attacking somebody else or getting in a fight with somebody else, like that is very likely the way that this energy is playing out. Or, you know, we can see it in other people, like somebody else being in a state of total self-delusion and just coming for us in one type of a way or another, projecting onto us. And we just want to avoid it the best that we can. You know, really tap into our own personal spiritual connection, try to see things from a higher, more elevated viewpoint, sort of realize also that we are just in a process of reevaluating what we want, and maybe that person's display is actually happening to sort of help us make that choice, help us decide if that is somebody that we still wish to continue to have in our lives going forward. So there's a lot of reasons why people might be acting up during this period of time, but at the end of the day, everything is trying to show us what we want in our lives and what we don't anymore at this period of time. Ultimately, like I said, this is representing a spiritual awakening and an internalized purging of disempowering beliefs. The purging of the priesthood, you guys. Big changes happening on the macrocosm are likely over this period of time as well. Difficult choices between doing the inner work necessary to heal and grow through a commitment to our faith and our own value and purpose, or turning our back on the truth of our own emotional needs and perpetuating karmic cycles of self-denial. Like, to me, with the retrograde going on, being in Virgo season, with the Neptune influence, the Uranus influence, the nodes, like all of this, I really feel like that is what this is boiling down to. A choice between self-denial or self-actualization. And, if we choose the self-actualization, having to have the courage to move forward in that direction despite what may need to fall in order for us to come to that place of realigning with things in a better way. Energy pushing humanity collectively towards self-actualization right now. Like, this is happening on an individual level for each and every one of us, because this is like the linchpin in our transition into the age of Aquarius. We can't transition into the age of Aquarius if we are still living in a state of self-denial. So that's what we are choosing, self-denial or self-actualization this period of time, and things are being put right. The sun in trine to Uranus, the moon in trine to Uranus, whatever we are being sort of like impulsively compelled towards at this period of time, it is happening to facilitate a release from past attachments that have been keeping us out of the truth of our authentic potential. Things are being put right. Our growth is being facilitated. We are gaining a closer connection to spirit and our higher selves at this period of time, whether we want to acknowledge that or not. Yes, this might really, really be triggering some people into fear of the unknown. They may be running away. They may be hiding. They may be actively working against what they feel like is happening within them. But ultimately, you can't hide from this awakening. Like, it's not going to work. It's going to get everybody eventually. And we just have to keep in mind, like, things are not as they seem. And there is this progression of energy. I find it very interesting because on the numerological level, like bringing it back there in terms of just the degree placements that we have playing out today, things are talking about a progression. First of all, it's September 10th, so we're talking about the 9, then the 10, the 9 to the 10. We're also talking about, we have in the degrees today, we have the nodes at 15 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio. We have Chiron at 16 degrees. We have the black moon at 17 degrees. We have the moon, the full moon itself, and the sun at 18 degrees. We have Uranus at 19 degrees, and we have Saturn at 20, moving to 21 degrees today. That is a progression of like exact steps in terms of the degree placements of our planets, going from 15 all the way up to 21. We have 15 nodes, 16 Chiron, 17 black moon, 18 full moon, 19 Uranus, 2021 Saturn and Uranus. And then today we're on a 9-10. And when I see numbers that are like consecutively going like that, to me, it means symbolically, energetically, some type of progression underway. To have that going on in the context of everything else that is playing out for our full moon today, I feel like that is highly indicative of that as well. And on the macrocosm, you guys, like I said, major shifts and transitions of power are happening behind the scenes right now. And I'm telling you guys, even though people may be hiding from these changes, a lot of people aren't going to be. But regardless, people are going to start changing. People are about to start acting and behaving much differently following this full moon, going through this Mercury retrograde period, and especially moving towards the new moon in Libra cycle that we have coming up. That is when the changes that are happening now are really going to start like being activated in terms of like what we're doing, like the actions that we're taking, the behaviors that we're exhibiting, the choices that we're making. So the conclusions that we come to over this period of time now, we're going to be acting on next cycle. But don't be surprised, you guys, if around now throughout the next couple weeks, and definitely building into the Libra cycle, like people start acting a bit strange. People start acting a bit unusual. People might just change completely. Like, you know, somebody that you've known for 20 years and has acted a certain way, may all of a sudden you see them and they're just like a totally different person. Like, that's the type of dynamic and energy that we're dealing with. Like, this is radical shifts spontaneously hitting us out of nowhere that are bringing us back to like our original authentic truth, so that we can go through this process of self-actualization. Because we're in self-denial if we are not embodying like who we truly are and what we're truly meant to be. Like, self-actualization can't happen, and it needs to happen, because that's how the age of Aquarius happens, and that is what is being activated in the cosmic blueprint right now. So that is what I have to say, you guys, for our full moon that is playing out. This choice that we have. What are we going to do? Are we going to deny our personal truth, or are we going to take the risk, have the courage, and most importantly, like, stand in our faith and move forward, knowing that if we go through that process, eventually, like, our outer world is going to match what it is that we truly have discovered that we need internally. So let's grab a synchronicity card now, you guys. It already came out. Wow, I cannot even believe that. These are synchronicity cards. They're by Janice Shellman. They are just little bits of little bits of guidance and advice from God, universe, great spirit, and our advice going throughout the course of this full moon cycle. Like, it literally says decide. And that's what I've been saying, you guys. That's what I've been saying. Decide. It says, and a house divided against a house falleth. Luke 11:17. When you cannot make up your mind about something, you are battling in your own mind. Mars and Gemini, you guys. Your house is unstable. Come to a clear-cut decision about a situation and follow what is good and right. Stick to that decision. Do not waver. So that's what we're doing, you guys, over the course of this full moon in the trine to Uranus. We are deciding, with Mercury stationed in the sign of Libra, about to go retrograde. We are deciding what it is that we truly want and what resonates with us on a very deep fulfillment, like emotional fulfillment level. And we are about to cut loose anything that is not on board with that or not going towards that purpose. So that is what I have to say, you guys, today for my full moon in Pisces video. I feel like I have definitely been struggling with some Mercury retrograde issues getting my words out this video, so I apologize. I hope it wasn't too like discombobulated all over the place. But I hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would like this kind of content, be interested in this too. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments. I really appreciate your feedback. I appreciate each and every one of you. I seriously value you so much. Thank you for being here. I have a Facebook group, Facebook page, a website, and some other social media stuff. Those are in my description box below. And come back with me next week, you guys. We will have another full week of astrology to talk about as we are moving through this full moon in Pisces cycle towards our new moon in Libra. So I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you then, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a beautiful full moon in Pisces, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.